listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM. On the radio, we're streaming live at cklu.ca. Make sure to click on the Radio Player Canada app, and you can stream us. If you download the same Radio Player Canada app, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, while you're there at cklu.ca, make sure to buy whatever it is that suits your fancy, and that'll help support the station, keep the lights on, the airwaves open, and help support community radio, something that's very unique and we need to keep alive in Sudbury. And if that's something that you think is important, then just buying some merch from our website will definitely go towards helping the station. Been around since 1984, started off in a humble trailer on the Ramsey Lake Road Laurentian University campus, and now is located at the corner of Elgin and Elm, the old Telegraph building, and the new MacEwan School of Architecture. We're thankful to our partnership with Laurentian University and with the citizens of this great community for keeping the station going all of these years. Without you, it would not be possible. So we appreciate you and all the support and help that you give, not only financially, but all of those who volunteer of their time. It is a volunteer-run station and listener supported. Now, the views on this show do not necessarily reflect those of Laurentian University or those of staff or volunteers of CKLU. They are that of myself, my co-hosts and guests, and those commenting on the show. And ours alone. They don't necessarily reflect the views of Laurentian or that of CKLU. So now that that's out of the way, I want to encourage you to comment on our social media, Facebook and YouTube, which we are live streaming on, facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. We come at you live each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. The shows can also be found on demand afterwards on those two platforms, along with Twitter, now x.com/Sudbury News, and Sudbury.news, our local news aggregator, which aggregates, meaning it takes all of the local news in Sudbury from CBC, CTV, Sudbury.com, Sudbury Star, and aggregates it to one website, one convenient location where now you're not able to view your news and share it on, on Facebook or Instagram. That's from a policy from our federal government to want to help journalism in Canada. And by doing that, they made it impossible to have any news, whether it's international, national, provincial, local, on Facebook or Instagram. So if you go to Sudbury.com's Facebook page, it's basically erased. CTV, Sudbury Star, CBC, gone. It's not there. It's similar, I would think, into times past where they would just try and erase history or burn books kind of thing. Well, it's our modern version of that. So that's, now whether the government meant to do it or not, I have my own opinion of that. That's what happened. So, and they haven't done anything since. So I hope whatever government is in place will try and rectify that. But in the meantime, we've made the website Sudbury.news. So that way it's a convenient way for you to consume all local news. It's just a simple website that we made as a service to the community, as a service to all of the news outlets. So that way their news is in one location. And you click on the story. It's not like we're going out and trying to steal their news, as some people had accused us of doing, we are actually doing a service for them. You click on the story, goes to their website. It doesn't stay on ours. And so that way they get the eyeballs, they get the traffic. They can then go to their advertisers and say they have the views. And so we're doing our part to promote them, free of charge to them, by the way. We don't charge them anything. We don't need that. We don't need Facebook to pay us anything. We'd rather just have Facebook back and be able to share it, just like all the other news organizations would want. But the government stepped in and said they were doing it on behalf of the news organizations. But no, thank you very much. Just stay out of things and let us do our thing. And we'd rather have us be able to share news on Facebook. That's what people were used to doing. That was, a news story came out, and all you had to do was just share it on your feed, and then it would come up on people that follow you, and they'd say, "Oh, I didn't know that happened," And it could be an obituary of a loved one. It could be, something that a tornado watch is in effect. And you're just happen to be scrolling through your Facebook, which it's the most used social media platform in the world by far, even though a lot of people think that there's, it's old school or whatever. It's the most used. So the government took the most used platform and made a policy to make it impossible to be able to share news on that. That should raise a lot of red flags. There's millions of red flags from this particular administration, but that's one huge one. So they're taking away, safety. It's basically, there's a tornado coming. People just share it right away. Everyone gets the news as fast as possible on Facebook. Boom. But now, if you're not listening to the radio or watching TV, or actively going out looking for the news, it's backwards thinking. It's wrong. And I think it was a move made so that way, they, as news media started to ask questions more and more and more, that the population was going to catch on to what's been going on in this administration. That's my own personal view. And you have your view and I have mine, and they don't reflect Laurentian University or CKLU. And we're able to think. We're able to think for ourselves. It's pretty great. And I'm thankful that we're able to think for ourselves still in this day, and hopefully be able to speak our minds. And it looks like more and more there's laws and things and, cancel culture and you name it, that's making it so that way people are either afraid to share their opinion because they want to keep their jobs or keep their station in life or stay out of jail just by saying how they feel. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. It's crazy. Anyways, with that, we got a lot to cover this morning. Smokestack, news that it's going to be coming down. What's the follow-up to the counselors situation, the two counselors? So you have Jocelyn Landry Altman, you have Natalie Labby, and then you have Bill Leduc, all kind of swirling around, doing their thing. We'll follow up on that. We'll have a little bit of a deep dive into the NDP, saying that they will no longer back the Liberal Party, and they're coming out of the coalition of the NDP Liberal situation that we've had in Canada. And we'll have more on using our brains and thinking for ourselves rather than just letting other people plant seeds and garden our brains for us. Anyways, we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after the weather. And as usual, weather brought to you by DuckCheck. duckcheck.com for all of your, I just set up the feed a little bit wrong here. So here we go. Back again. I guess my clicker wasn't working properly. Weather brought to you by DuckCheck, 705-918-4848. Give them a shout for all your duck cleaning and inspection needs. Currently it is 13 degrees out there. Today we can expect mix of sun and cloud. And this morning, becoming sunny. The high will be 25. With the humidex, it'll feel like 28 tonight, increasing cloudiness. Rain late this evening and low of 15. Then tomorrow, rain ending in the morning, then cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Temperature steady near 14, UV index 2 or low. A look at your extended forecast. Again, 14 and raining. Tomorrow, 60% chance of showers. Saturday, showers, 10. Showers on Sunday, 14. Cold and rainy for Saturday and Sunday. So dress appropriately, prepare. 30% chance of showers on Monday with a high of 20, so it's getting warmer again for the week. 23 mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then a look at your satellite here for those on the radio. It's just clear right now, as you can see a lot of that cloud and rain activity coming in from the northwest. And we should have that tomorrow and then on through the weekend. That's your weather brought to you by DuckCheck, D-U-C-T, check.com. Give them a call, 705-918-4848. Let them know we sent you, and you can get $100 off your next duct cleaning inspection for your residential, commercial, and industrial needs. We'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and more right after this. Okay, and we're back. A lot of people joining us this morning. Thanks for being on. A few shout outs before we get into the headlines of the day, and there's quite a few of them. Lots going on in our city here. So good morning, Nana. First to YouTube. Blessings to everyone. Good morning, Nana. Good morning to Judy first on Facebook. Debbie, good morning to you with a smiley emoji. Marianne, good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Monique, good morning, Sudbury. Smiley emoji. Denise, good morning, everyone. All have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy. Like and share. Yes, we appreciate that. And Chris, good morning. Great to see you on. And Maurice as well with a smiley emoji, exclamation point. Good morning to you. And Pat, good morning, exclamation point. Feeling the positivity already today. Belinda, good morning. Law and justice, this is Belinda speaking. Law and justice are not always the same. When they aren't, destroying the law may be the first step towards changing it. Truth never damages a cause that is just. That is a deep one. That's huge. I don't know if I can even go into that to the full extent, but we're entering an age right now where laws and the idea of democracy and justice and all these terms are going to be whoever has the power, whoever's in power, whoever has the scepter at the moment and is wearing the crown, whoever has control over the money and the media, they'll determine what those terms mean, the definition of them. And we are in for some interesting times, ladies and gents. That's all I got to say. So make sure that you do understand what is truth, do understand what is just or justice, do understand what is fair and right. And what is your foundation? Where do you get your foundation of these things from, of your core beliefs? Where do they come from? Why do you have them? Why do you think they're part of your core beliefs and foundations? They're going to be challenged left, right, and center. So good to get plugged into whatever source you need to be plugged into to give you the extra energy to make your foundation stronger. Am I speaking in code? I have no idea. But anyways, Marianne, it's censorship and nothing more. That's the idea of Facebook news not being able to be shared. That's for sure. Morning, Vin. Thanks for being on. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Same to you, David. Belinda says censorship is cowards. last-ditch effort to control the narrative. They're losing. You can't hold back the truth. Okay, again. Yeah, it's good to have a strong foundation in what that is, because a lot of people feel convicted in what truth is, right? And not everyone has the same definition of what that is. Good morning from Collingwood. That is Liette. Thanks for joining us, Liette. Monique, grand rising, exclamation point, with a sunshine emoji, heart emoji. Yes, we are grateful for the sunshine. There's no doubt about it. And wasn't this a great summer? Didn't we have a remarkable summer this summer in terms of weather? Can't complain, even though I like to complain. It's therapeutic for me to complain, so it just is. I complain, I feel better, I then look at the positive afterwards to kind of, and then move on. But anyways, can't complain about this summer. So Marianne says, just like the Singh pullout is a distraction to what is happening behind the scenes. People need to pay attention to the Senate. That is being stacked with liberal plants and a couple of bills they want to pass. Jaggy Boy will never call an election and put his pension at risk. And that's what I thought first thing too. That's the first thing I thought when he was saying, well, we're going to pull back because Trudeau isn't, we don't agree with him anymore or whatever. Or he's done something that now we just can't work with him anymore for some reason. He never really gave real reasons. He just gave those talking points the NDP always has of corporate greed. I don't know if I hear that corporate greed thing anymore. What about government greed? We're paying 43% of our income in taxes. He doesn't talk about that. It's corporate greed. He made the election move 1 week past the deadline of when it should have been, so that way he can collect a pension. That's government greed, Anyways, he's pulled out, and it might be just a distraction. Might be them still working together, but, just saying he's pulling out. But they can still vote with them. They're just going to vote with them issue by issue, not blanket saying, yeah, we're just going to support everything you do like they were doing. If people don't know by now, this is Monique, what in the world is happening, it's too late for them. Now, Billy would happen to disagree with you. Billy, who's on the show quite often. He's an eternal optimist who feels even if people are kind of on the wrong track right now, they have every opportunity to come to see what's really happening in the world. Who's really in charge? What's the motive of things that are going on? No matter what the media is telling you, what is really the truth, things like that. He has every ounce of faith in the fact that people will discover what's happening and wake up. And that's the term Marianne is using. Some will never wake up, right? But that's, again, Billy would happen to disagree. He feels wholeheartedly that many, many, many people are going to wake up. And I hope that he is right. I always do. He's more positive, has more faith in humanity and more hope than I have. I'm an optimistic realist, and he's more just an optimist. So anyways, Belinda also says, never trust person that speaks out of both sides of their mouth. Marianne, absolutely. And Jerome, good morning, y'all. On the road to Cambridge, you are a man on a mission, Jerome. A man on a mission. You're always popping up everywhere, working as hard as anybody. Working harder than Justin Trudeau, who works harder than all Canadians, apparently is what he said. He works harder than all Canadians. While saying that on a beach in BC, paid for by your tax dollars. Yes, and miles high, everyone. Jagmeet is just a stunt. It's just a stunt. So he can save his 2 seats in a by-election in September. Oh, there you go. The by-election, he's got to look strong. We're going to fight for you. We're not going to bow down to another party and, run the party through their power. We're taking a stand. Belinda, we are the time of the Great Awakening. They will have no choice. And I agree with you on that. I think they're the ones holding the purse strings. They're the ones with their finger on the switch. They're the ones of the society we've built. This society that we are used to every day, where we have cars and we have ovens and we have computers and internet and we have all kinds of privileges in our society. They're the ones who control those things. But they don't control you. They don't control your mind. They don't control these types of things. If you have no trouble living in the bush, feeding yourself and being able to sustain yourself, then yeah, the Great Awakening, you can awaken, but you have to show your courage and integrity by not needing all of the things that they have the control over. That's going to be the real test for many people. Right? And Bob's joining us here. That's why everybody loved Chrétien. Only talked out of one side of his mouth. Oh, Bob's got the jokes. Appreciate it, Bob. Thank you very much. And we're going to move on to some news headlines coming from our local news aggregator, Sudbury.news. And we'll just go through them. So visit it if you haven't yet. It's a great resource for Sudbury News. Everything in one location. Shooting inquest. Jury wants better phone links during crisis negotiations. So the 5-person jury wraps up inquest that examined the details of the death of a Garson man who died in 2018 during an armed standoff with the police. This is the story where a man somehow, for some reason, on the day his wife was retiring, should have been a day of celebration, shot his wife in the back as she was trying to get away. And she ran to a neighbor's house, and I guess he thought he must have killed her. I don't know what he was thinking, but turned the gun on himself and committed suicide. And so there's been an inquest going into why it happened, what they can do. So I guess the jury wants better phone links during crisis negotiations as coming out of that situation. Sad story for those who were affected by that. $25 million in federal funding announced to help the cost of Sudbury's new cultural hub. Our library that's going to increase people vacationing in Sudbury and increase tourism in Sudbury. They're going to come to our library, was the selling point of this new cultural hub that we're getting. Well, the feds think it's a good idea. They're going to give us $25 million for this. Sudbury's future cultural hub is getting an investment of $25 million from you in federal funding. The money will help cover about 40% of the total cost of the project, which aims to retrofit Tom Davies Square downtown to host the city's library and art organizations. So what I'd like to see is the actual tourist numbers of people coming to Sudbury for the library, like they said that was going to happen. We all know that's not going to happen. How many people from out of town come into Sudbury just to come see our library? Something that we've all been looking forward to. Alcoholic drinks now available for sale at convenience stores across northeastern Ontario. Your life will never be the same. As of Thursday morning, you can now buy alcoholic drinks in hundreds of convenience stores across Ontario. This comes after decades of lobbying from the industry and years of promises from the Ford government. That story from CBC News. The others were the first one was from Sudbury.com, and the one about the $25 million was from CBC. And the convenience stores getting liquor now is also from CBC. Just want to give credit where credit's due. This from Sudbury.com. I wouldn't be here. Ontario supervised consumption site users speak out on closures. We're going to hear this until those organizations run out of funding and they find other jobs, and then you won't hear this in the news anymore. But for now, you're going to hear stories like this as they have people in the media who also kind of agree with the ideology. They're just going to continue to pound this issue. Reggie Garrett remembers snippets of the first time he was saved from a fatal overdose. So they're using stories here. Well, now Reggie can look forward to actually having more support and hopefully getting off of the drugs that he's using that has caused him to almost overdose and die. And I'm looking forward to that. Now, whether this is going to work or not, the idea of rehabilitation other than harm reduction has always been something that's been near and dear to my heart, as you know, if you've been watching or listening for any period of time. And I just want to find a way to make it work. Find a way to make it work. Because I know people can rehabilitate. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've been part of it. I believe in it. And I believe in people. Just like Billy believes in a lot of people can wake up, I believe a lot of people can rehabilitate from something that's very debilitating to their lives. Sure, you can be saved from an overdose from dying, but what's your life like? You're living a life of death to begin with. You know? Like, it's not life that you're living. It's just not. Your standard of living is terrible. And advocates should be ashamed of themselves to want you to continue to live in that state all the time. You know? Instead of wanting you to live an actual life, an abundant life, a life that you're proud of, a life that gives back to society, a life that you can live a legacy with at the end of your life. Nancy, good morning to you. It's now time to make alcoholics. They've made enough drug users, and that's the convenience store. It also goes in line with that next headline we're just reading. And rehabilitation does need hope, Denise, for sure. We need to believe that it is possible, because it is. Wordstock Annual General Meeting, September 11th. The event will also be the final lineup reveal for November Literary Festival. I love these Wordstock festivals. You know, it's a dying thing where people read books and really understand the good thing about books. I have friends who read a lot of books, and you can just tell they're just more informed about life. It's just enriches your life by reading books. 5 young people commit to the Wolves as regular season looms. Sudbury.com. The Pack opens the regular season with a home opener September 27th against Barrie, right here in town. So you want to get out and see the Wolves this year, you can. Just get out, buy some tickets, get out, support them. Sudbury's Super Stack is to come down. This is from CTV. Valet has announced plans to take down Sudbury's iconic Super Stack and the lesser-known Copper Stack, which I do know there's that little stack beside it. That's the Copper Stack, apparently. They're both coming down. And I thought there was more on that by other journalistic outlets in town, but I guess I was going through too fast or something. Now, to follow up on the story we've been following here with Natalie Labby, Jocelyn Landry Altman, and Bill Leduc, it's kind of like the Sudbury soap opera for the last couple months, right? Here is the story from the Sudbury Star. Labby, defiant in face of verbal reprimand from city councillors. Greater Sudbury councillor also highly critical of Integrity Commissioner, who said she should be docked pay for controversial remarks. Let's just visit this article for a second. Wearing purple dress, mauve blazer, Ward 7 councillor Natalie Labby said again Tuesday evening she has no plans to apologize to the CAO Ed Archer. Labby said, standing her ground is a matter of ethics and principles. I have consistently stood by my principles regarding the statements I've made since council found out about the leaked information and the impact of 9 and 11% raises had for so many who work for us, especially those who did not receive such exorbitant raises, she told the Star following the council meeting on Tuesday. While I recognize the discussions we had on May 14th should have been done in camera, unfortunately, that didn't happen. That was very unfair to Mr. Archer, and I acknowledge that. But I won't react or take back what I said. I was willing to accept sanctions for those comments if necessary, but I won't compromise my principles or values, and I know a lot of people respect me for that, and I am one of the many people. Well, there's the other stories about Valet announcing the plans for dismantling the Superstack. Sudbury.com, CBC, Sudbury Star, CTV, all the usual suspects, all covering the story. So you can see all of those stories on Sudbury.news. I just wanted to see if we had our other story here, which, yes, we do. So here's Sudbury.com. Councillor lawsuit against committee should be tossed. The city of Greater Sudbury rejects each and every allegation in a $450,000 lawsuit filed against it by Ward 11 Councillor Bill Leduc, and says the city councillor not only isn't entitled to any financial relief, but the lawsuit itself isn't the correct mechanism to achieve what the councillor wants. In early August, Leduc filed the suit against both the city's election compliance audit committee and resident Anastasia Ryu, who filed an election finance compliance complaint against him and the city of Greater Sudbury. In a statement of claim, Leduc alleges Ryu, who is erroneously cited in Leduc's statement of claim as a candidate in the 2022 municipal election for Ward 11, defamed him, and that the city's election compliance audit committee was biased against him and engaged in unlawful conduct. In addition to the $450,000 in damages, the lawsuit seeks to render the committee's decision to proceed with legal action against Leduc for apparent Municipal Election Act breaches to be null and void, and for an injunction to be put in place to prevent Ryu from publishing further defamatory statements about Leduc. The lawsuit also seeks to replace the committee's 5 citizen appointees for any further proceedings related to Leduc's election campaign finances. So thanks for the story on that. Sudbury.com. We also have a story on Jocelyn Landry Altman. Council decision angers advocates for Greater Sudbury's homelessness or homeless. They wanted stronger penalties for Ward 12 Councillor Jocelyn Landry Altman. Councillor calls verbal reprimand against her just. So we have advocates for the homeless upset that she didn't get her hand slapped a little harder than what she did, because they are the ones running the location that was in. Oh, that's interesting. I'll just wait. We have, oh, there we go. They wanted stronger penalties for her. Okay, Ward 12 Councillor Jocelyn Landry Altman was fetting a reprimand Tuesday that did not include a salary suspension. But representatives with several social service agencies said they were disappointed with the outcome and the fact the councillor did not apologize to members of Greater Sudbury's homeless community. So let's get a little background here. David Boghossian, Greater Sudbury's Integrity Commissioner, was recommending a 20-day suspension after receiving 2 complaints concerning Landry Altman's conduct at the April 8th meeting of the Flower Mill Community Action Network. The first complainant alleged that Landry Altman took over the meeting, barred media. She admits she prevented a journalist from attending and stopped stakeholders from addressing the crowd. She was said to have barred a member of the press from being present at the meeting, told attendees that they could not record the meeting, and denied Jenna Morin the opportunity to address those in attendance. Boghossian wrote in his report, despite the fact that the CAN meetings are supposed to be open to the public and to the media, complainants alleged that Landry Altman intentionally excluded many residents and business owners. They also alleged she allowed certain people to speak. Landry Altman said she allowed everyone to speak who wished to do so. In fact, Jenna Morin, executive director of Sudbury Centre for Transitional Care, spoke for nearly 30 minutes. Landry Altman said, as councillor, it is her job to take care of her constituents. She said she knows of the 87-year-old woman who lives alone, who can no longer enjoy her porch because the chairs have been stolen, and she can no longer leave her windows open for fear someone will enter the residence. This community was asking for help, and she expressed their fears, she said. Boghossian, who attended Tuesday's meeting virtually, said the first complainant asked for anonymity. The second complainant against the long-serving member of City Council was filed by Morin. Evie Alley, ED of the Go Give Project, Carly Gasparini, ED of the Community Builders, and Jackie Bellini, Executive Director of Sudbury District Restorative Justice. So there you have these organizations that work with the homeless. Obviously, that their livelihood depends on, their livelihood depends on this particular thing happening. So when you hear it in the news and there's all these advocates for a certain cause, it's because that's their jobs. Their livelihoods depend on this center, this transitional center running, right? So you have to get all the facts, know who's in what corner, who's got what say, why they're saying what they're saying. It's always good to do your homework. So in fact, Landry Altman said in the Integrity Commissioner's report, there were 24 falsehoods, assumptions and mistakes, and painted a prejudicial picture. You have diligently listed the negative comments using selective language to support your recommendations. You have accentuated some statements without context, and you have made false statements reflecting what happened, she told Boghossian. You failed to counter that with positive comments that came out of that meeting. Those aren't there. You portrayed this community and its volunteers as uncouth and bereft of any empathy. You were wrong. What resonates the most is the anguish that was expressed by the residents and business owners. The Integrity Commissioner hangs on to the pillars of democracy and has ignored reality. The 4 co-complainants argued Landry Altman conducted herself with privilege. We've heard that word before. And bias. It was also alleged that during the meeting, attendees used hurtful, stigmatizing, and disrespectful language to describe the clients of the Sudbury Centre for Transitional Care. Complainants said Landry Altman did nothing to intervene, but she said Tuesday that is not true. Did I condone it, like the IC said? I did? No, I did not. She said, I did not condone it. So Ward 11 Councillor Bill Leduc noted in the April 8th CAN meeting was held in a union hall where it is forbidden to document or record proceedings without the express consent of the union. He introduced an amendment to reprimand his colleague without suspending her pay. There. So lots of stuff. There you go. There's more if you want to read it in the news. Hopefully, everyone can kiss and make up, continue to go back, fight for the people that you're serving, which you still need to do. Don't let this stop you from doing that. You can see these organizations were worried about the stigmatization of the residents against the people that were part of the transitional center, right? So it's the word police out there that you need to use the newly politically correct wording of everything. Instead of saying homeless, you got to say experiencing homelessness. You know, it's like George Carlin's shtick on how we change words all the time. Instead of listening to what people are saying, you're going to get hung up on the kind of words you're using. So if I say addict, that would be very stigmatizing. It would be a disgrace to the person who's addicted to drugs. You can say a person experiencing an opioid situation. I'm just making that up right now. You're experiencing opioid effects in your life. I don't know what you're going to say. They mean the same thing. So instead of actually just listening to what people are saying, you get hung up on the words they're using. And that's the kind of world we're heading into. And we're going to see more of. If they control the laws, the powers, the police, the internet, the power we use, the economy, the education system, like what do you expect? That's what we're getting. That's what we're going to continue to get. Okay. So Jagmeet Singh comes out of the race. Surprise, surprise. Not out of the race, but he cuts ties with our fearless leader, Justin Trudeau, and the Liberals. Why? Miles submits the argument or the notion that it's because there's some by-elections coming up and he possibly wants to look tough. He wants to look tough. And we have our friend Tanner here who's got his commentary on, along with the announcement itself. So there's some points he makes, and the announcement, unless you haven't heard it yet, Jagmeet Singh has cut ties with his coalition government with the Liberal Party and has some harsh things to say about Justin Trudeau. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, so a big update from Jagmeet Singh, who says he's tearing up the supply and confidence agreement between himself and Justin Trudeau. So wonderful. We always knew Jagmeet Singh was a man of his convictions. Let's hear what he had to say.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. There is an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts from workers, from retirees, from young people, from patients, from families. He will cut in order to give more to big corporations and wealthy CEOs. The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the Conservatives. But we can. In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope. Hope that when we stand united, we win. That Canada's middle class will once again thrive together. In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. I've embraced that value my whole life. I'm running for Prime Minister because together we can and will stop conservative cuts. We can deliver relief and restore hope, fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. If we're together, nothing is impossible. And we won't let them tell us it can't be done. Big corporations and wealthy CEOs have had their government. It's the people's time.
Right. So that final quote was directly from the Tower of Babel, right? When we're together, nothing can stop us. Not even Almighty God can stop us. So it's Jagmeet Singh had this agreement and the NDP had this agreement with the Liberals. that as long as the Liberals did what the NDP wanted them to do, at least in some capacity, they would maintain their relationship. Now it appears their relationship is more fragile than what people might have thought. And so Jagmeet Singh has decided to rip up the agreement, he says, in this very dramatic video release in favor of fighting for the working class, in favor of fighting for Canadians, in favor of fixing all of the Liberal government's problems that they have baptized Canada in. And now it's ironic, of course, that Jagmeet Singh says he's going to fix the Liberal government's problems, considering it's because of the Liberal government's massive size, it's because of the Liberal government's socialism, it's because of the Liberal government's involvement in the markets that Canada is suffering in the way that it is right now. And so what is Jagmeet Singh's solution to that problem? Well, it's exactly the same. Bigger government, more government involvement in the markets, and more socialism, more price fixing, more MLAs telling businesses what to do and how to price, more government control, more government power, and more government intervention in Canada. So it's the strangest thing, because on the one hand, you have all of these problems which have been started and maintained by socialism. And on the other hand, you have Jagmeet Singh, who says in order to fix these problems, we are going to increase the amount of socialism in the country. It's laughable that Singh thinks the NDP or socialists fight for the middle class, because under a socialist system of government, there is no middle class. All we have to do is look at countries around the world which have suffered under socialism to see that that's unfortunately the case. Of course, Moscow, with its absolute socialism in the form of communism, is a good example of that. Absolutely everyone lived in the exact same Soviet-style Moscow, boring 1970s brown brick apartment that was 12 by 12 by 12, and that was all. You can look at other nations around the world that have suffered under socialism. They're eating dog food to try and maintain their levels of nutrition. They're beating each other up in grocery stores, what grocery stores are left anyway.
And what he's saying isn't like exaggerated. That's exactly what happens when you have socialism, communism, these things. Why do you think Jagmeet hates the rich so much? He goes after corporate greed so much. They hate the idea of prosperity, that somebody could work really hard and prosper through their own efforts. They loathe people that are able to do that. They loathe it. They would love to see everyone just living in boxes, but you know what? Everyone lives in boxes, but guess who wouldn't be living in little boxes, as Tanner pointed out that happened in Russia? You know what I mean? Just concrete blocks and, whatever. Everyone's on a living wage and all these things, and no one can get rich because it's wrong. Guess who would be in power, and guess who would be rich? Jagmeet Singh, because that's what happens. What do you think? Putin is poor? Do you think any leader of any of these socialist countries go through the same problems that their people do? No, they don't. It's absolute power. It's Marxism. Absolute power to the government. Government controls everything. In the name of making everything equal. In this life, in this world, you will never have everything equal. It's impossible. Equal outcome is impossible. You can't. Everyone's just different. So, and everyone wants different things. What might one person want is different than another person wants. Why don't you just make a world where, whatever you want is achievable, and you can have it. If you want a big house, have a big house. You're happy with minimal living, live a minimalistic life. Don't force everyone into a minimalistic life. And just because somebody does want to go out and achieve things and do a lot of things, and because you do a lot of things, you get up earlier than everyone, you work harder than everyone, you go to bed later than everyone, you work more jobs than anyone else. And then at the end of the day, you just get the same result as everyone else. Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you? Like, honestly. Like, you, in your class, you study all the time. You go to school. You study for your exam. You stay up all night. You pull all-nighters, whatever. And you work really hard. You're there in class every single day, all the time. It's all you focus on is your schoolwork. And then the person next to you, they're not there half the time. They're partying. They don't study one bit. They come to class. Would you feel Would you then want this whole idea of equity to happen in that situation? That person gets the exact same mark as you do? How would you feel? How would you feel? That's the foundational belief of the NDP party and any Marxist socialist ideology. That is it. Done. And you yourself wouldn't agree to that. You yourself would say, no, I don't think that's right. I think if I put in all the time and whatever and effort into my schoolwork and whatever, that the grade I get is my grade because I put the time and effort into it. Why should the next person next to me get the same grade as I got? Just give your head a shake if you honestly think that. And good morning, Evelyn. Thanks for being on. It's always better late than never, for sure. We're just in the middle of talking about Jagmeet Singh's announcement, whether it's legit or not, whether we're going to have an earlier election or not. But just the beliefs of that party in general, I cannot get behind because I just explained it. And again, that is what it is. You can't say it's anything different. The corporate greed are the ones that went out and the Weston family, let's say, they worked really hard. If you look at the beginning of any corporation's beginnings, look how hard they work. Look how much sacrifice they had to make in order to make it happen. And they built these empires one brick at a time, one sleepless night at a time, one day of being not paid. A lot of business owners go without pay for years until they have the reward at the end of the day. They know if they work really hard, they have to sacrifice in order to get these things. He doesn't talk like that. He doesn't even acknowledge that that's what, he just wants their money. But guess who's in power at the end of the day? He is. That is socialism. Let's just rip off the mask and see what's behind it. Don't get roped into it. We care about people. We care about the middle class. We care about the workers. They don't care about the workers. They care about themselves. As long as the workers are going to get them elected, that's all they care about. And I'll take that one to the bank. Thank you. I know that's the way it is. You do your own research. Read the Marxist Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and his buddy, and you come to your own conclusion on what that says to you. Study it with your own brain. Don't take other people's word for it. Don't even take my word for it. I've done my own research and my own studying, and I know what certain parties stand for. Most Canadians vote people in because of their hair, including this guy who had these comments to make about Jagmeet Singh coming out of the coalition.
Prime Minister Trudeau, you no longer have the support of the NDP. Your party is trailing in the polls and the Conservatives are calling for an election. Is it time to send Canadians to the polls?
We're here today because we're delivering on school lunches and school food for thousands of kids across the province, and we're making investments that are going to be helping hundreds of thousands of kids across the country as people step up. These are the kinds of things that Canadians are looking for. As I traveled across the country this summer, people talk to me about making ends meet. They talk to me about the high cost of rent and the need for more housing. They talk to me about the environment and climate change and the impacts of it. And these are the things that we're focused on. I'll let others focus on politics, but I will point out that I really hope the NDP stays focused on how we can deliver for Canadians, as we have over the past years, rather than focusing on politics.
How come this seat is at such a low level? You know, I'm looking at him. He's got this stage rigged, folks.
No. We'll let others focus on politics. I thought you were a political leader. Actually, I thought you were the leader of a country. What does that even mean? And yes, I do understand there is corporate greed, by the way. And I do understand that certain corporations, after they get in, they start doing things that are wrong because they're human. I do understand that, 100%. I do not believe in crony capitalism. I believe we need to take the crony out of capitalism with whatever means we can do to do that. But we don't need to, good luck with socialism though, as a as an alternative. Good luck with that one. You don't want socialism as an alternative. I'll just leave it at that. That's my opinion based on much research and life experience. And it's interesting, though. We have to learn things on our own. We can't leave things up to others to do for us. And that's, again, with the media. A lot of people just let the media think for us. Just you stand around the water cooler at work and you just hear people's opinions, and you know where their opinions came from. It came from the CBC that day, you know? And they don't think for themselves. Their opinions are verbatim right from whatever they heard on the news that morning. Now, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I wanted to play one more video, but maybe we'll start the day off with it tomorrow. It's a really funny infomercial, mock infomercial. But anyways, thanks for being with us, everyone. Appreciate you being on and commenting and being with us each and every day, each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 on CKLU 96.7 FM, on Facebook and YouTube, later on demand on those two platforms, and twitter.com/Sudbury News, now X, and Sudbury.News. Just click on the Sudbury.News or the Sudbury News Talk tab. Appreciate you being here. Take care. Stay safe. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a safe and wonderful day, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.